Hello and welcome to our program Where God Weeps, a program where we talk about the situation of the suffering and persecuted church around the world. September 2010 marked the end of U.S. combat operations in Iraq. For almost 10 years, hundreds of thousands of U.S. soldiers sought to introduce and support a fledgling democracy in this country. While the combat operations are officially over, 50,000 troops still remain on the ground, but Iraq, for all intents and purposes, is on its own. To tell us more about the situation of the country and the Christians living there, it's my great privilege to welcome the Archbishop of Kirkuk, His Excellency Archbishop Louis Sako. Your Excellency, thank you for being here with us today in our program.
Thank you, Mark. Thank you for the attention and concern on Christians in the Middle East, and especially in Iraq.
Your Excellency, you said that the 2003 war in Iraq turned the country upside down. Can you tell us, what is the situation today in Iraq?
The situation is still going on. There is no order. Since 7 months, we didn't have a new government, and everybody is fighting for the power, for to have a post. There is really a tension among the politicians, I mean, even among Shiites and Sunnites and the others for the power. And there is a chaotic situation until now. People are waiting with a lot of fears and very few hope.
You saw at the very beginning what you felt might be an opportunity for the ancient rite Christians in the country to show something that you could positive assign towards the Muslim counterparts. Are you still optimistic of the sign that Christianity can show Islam?
It was possible, but now the fundamentalism is growing, and also the mentality of sectarian mentality is not helping to that, but giving the qualification of Christians, their open-mindedness. They can do a lot, but too bad to say that even the Christians are divided among them, and so how to play this role of reconciliation, of bridging among all the groups. We are doing a little bit in Kirkuk with all the groups, but at a national level, I think it is very hard now.
The Latin Rite Archbishop of Baghdad, Jean Sliman, said that the promises of peace and prosperity have evaporated. Did and has the political experiment failed?
During 35 years, Iraq was a secular regime. There was nothing like now. Shiites, Sunnites, and Christians and Muslims.
You lived neighbor as neighbor before.
Very in good and a positive way, but now nobody has trust on the others. So they destroyed our trust and also our conviviality, because I think they have a strategy to divide our country in a sectarian basis.
So, for example, Christians in the north, or
I don't think for Christians more than for Kurds, Shiites, and Sunnites. Maybe also they spoke a lot about the plain of Nineveh for Christians, but this is a trap and a dream for us.
If Iraq fails, this political experiment fails, what implications will this have for the wider region?
I think this will be a disaster because everybody, I mean, the population and the countries around Iraq and neighborhood of Iraq, they were also waiting for the democracy, more freedom, and a big change. Then I think the regimes and also the politicians and I mean people will be much more aggressive and fanatic.
With the instability now in Iraq, are there pressures coming from other governments, from neighboring countries, and with what strategic intent?
Yeah, I think the impact is so strong because there is, a conflict or an ambition from the countries around Iraq. I mean, Shiite from one side, the Sunnite from the other side, to have more influence upon Iraqis and for their own interest. I think they don't like a new Iraq, strong Iraq, democratic Iraq, because it is very dangerous for themselves. And it is for even now, the delay of the formation of the new government, I think it is for their own benefit and telling their people, look at Iraqi situation, there is a chaotic situation, a disaster, a lot of violence, so it is better to keep whatever you have. It is much more positive than the Iraqi situations.
With the withdrawal of the US troops, is violence on the increase?
Everybody is waiting. There are explosions and also kidnapping and other kinds of violence, but the media are not speaking about it. And maybe behind the violence, the violence, violences. I mean, there were also politicians, because when they want to impose the order, it was possible during the elections. Why they are not controlling also the whole country, and they are leaving without caring about the situation inside Iraq. For instance, the borders are not controlled. Who can watch them, keep them, and who can defend the population with what? Even the army needs aircrafts and also training and weapons, and so it is very weak.
So, for a political decision in the United States, the U.S. Army has pulled out too soon in Iraq.
Yeah, I think so, and I think they have plans, and they don't. Usually, they are pragmatists, so they don't say what they want, but they are trying to prepare people psychologically, people to that. I think the division will come. It is a pity, but it is a matter of time.
How do you see this breakup of Iraq? If we're talking about a separation, a division within the country, what form could this take?
For many years, since 50 years, Americans were speaking about the division, or a new division in states of the Middle East. And now they are trying with Iraq, but they will try with other countries. And if you go to Kurdistan is like a state now. They have everything. You go to the south, also Shiites, they have their own army, militias, and they have their own airport, and they are organizing themselves, and now also with Sunni. So that means the unity of Iraq is threatened.
I want to come back to the question of the violence that's ongoing now in Iraq, the explosions, the kidnappings. Is this indiscriminate, or are Christians particularly a target of this violence?
The reason behind that, for Christians, we are a minority and we are an easy target. The extremists, they think Christians should live because they want to impose, to build an Islamic state upon the Sharia Islamic law, and they are trying with all the means. But also the criminals, they think they have a religious background based, unfortunately, upon their religious conviction that also Christians are infidels. So you can persecute them and take their goods. So kidnapping for the money, they think this is legitimate, and this is not a sin. So both groups are trying to make pressure upon the Christians. I think the background is religious.
The new Iraqi ambassador to the Holy See, Habib al-Sadr, stated, and I quote, "Christians are added to the hit lists because an act of terror against Christians gets more media attention than killing Muslims." Would you agree with that statement?
I don't think so, because, we feel we are isolated as a Christians. Nobody is speaking about our tragedy. There are voices here and there, but really not enough, because few Christians there, a minority, even many people in the West, they don't know if there are Christians in Iraq. I think the medias are doing much more for political, propaganda, and not the cases, the stories behind killing Christians and kidnapping Christians, because we are not, we are not a factor for what is happening inside Iraq. We are much more neutral. We are not using violence against nobody.
You are a scapegoat in the
We
situation.
are peaceful people. So when Muslims are killing or kidnapping, they have their own tribes to protect them, to take revenge.
The Kurds have a militia,
Of
the
course.
Shia have a militia, the Sunni have a
Sunni, yeah.
militia. The only ones without a militia are the Christians.
This is
So
not
you're a soft target.
Yeah, this is not our morality and also our nature to use weapons or to have militias. It doesn't work with our Christianity. We are always peacemaker. Even Muslims are telling us that we are peaceful and we are looking for the stability and to live in harmony with everybody.
Where are the moderate Muslims? There are moderate Muslims in Iraq with whom you were neighbors. Where are they, and why are their voices not being heard?
I think there are moderate Muslims, but they are very vulnerable. And I think inside, in their own mind, they agree with an Islamic state, because they think that Europe lost, the West had lost its identity, and also they are incapable to be integrated into the modern society, and also the West is exploiting their richness, so they are getting much more aggressive. And I think they will, even the moderate Muslim, they are happy to have the Islamic Sharia, and because they are afraid to lose their values, because watching what is happening in the West, they are really afraid.
Is that the question, that for these moderate Muslims, they look at Western culture and they think that is Christianity, and yet it is immoral. So why would we want this imported into Iraq? Is that part of the issue?
They think Christianity is assimilated with the West, because they think the West is Christians and is leading a crusade against Islam. This is the mentality they are unable to think that there is no more a Christian, state in the West. So they still think that the West is Christians. they don't like Islam. They are the reason of the misfortune of Muslims, Israel, and also the progress in the West, and they are not making any progress in there. This is the reason is Christians, so they are thinking that it is better to keep their own identity. They are afraid to lose their own identity, moral and values of the family or religious values. I think the religion is the powerful background to keep their own history, patrimony, and identity.
You stated once that you felt that civil war might be on the horizon. Do you still think that this could be the case?
I think this is still the risk now, because the new government since 7 months was not formed, and I think there is a challenge. If it lasts, I think there will be a risk of a civil war especially among Sunnites and also Shiite.
How do you keep your hope and encourage the Christians to stay in their land in front of what appears to be a hopeless situation?
Especially in Iraq, to stay and to hope, but it's not easy. It's not easy. Sometimes we are disappointed, and it is so hard to ask people to stay and to hope. We have to be realistic, and I think there is a double position with Muslims. To be realistic about the increasing of the fundamentalism and also of the Islamization of the whole world, not only in the Middle East, but this is the strategy. So it is like the Islamophobia. But from the other side, we are Christians, we are saints, and we have to take care of our Muslim brothers. So I think we have to look for a new pastoral work with them to make more theological approaches of Christianity, to help them to understand our Christian vocation. We are not infidels, and we are not also polytheists. We believe in one God, but in our way to express the unity of God and the Trinity. That doesn't mean there are three gods. And maybe we have to look for a new theological language and a new speech, updated speech, to speak with them with their own language, with the Arabic language. From the other side, there is also a danger that these churches in the Middle East, instead to be churches, to have a cause, a reason to be, a vocation to fail in the ethnicity, to be national church, no more witness, no more missionary, and so on. I think we have to prepare groups and to prepare ourselves as bishops, as clergy, also to do that, to witness our Christian values and also our spirituality among Muslims who appreciate that, and also they are waiting to listen, to hear something different from them.
Yes.
But we are afraid sometimes. We don't have the courage to do it, and this is bad.
What can the international community do?
To ask them to respect the human rights, the human person, and also to separate religion from the state. The state, a country is for all people, and there should be not first-class citizens, second-class citizens. This is very bad, and this is a shame to keep it today. Maybe in the Middle Ages it was possible, but now unbelievable. And also to educate people to respect each other. We are respecting them as they are. They should respect them, but respect us as we believe, as we are. And there is a reciprocity. The second impact that the international community can do, and also the churches, to ask Muslim leaders to respect the Christians' freedom to preach also. They can preach their own religion without any condition, and we are not. Why? If we are equal, donc we have right also to expose what we believe, what we think. A church is always sent to witness, to preach, and if we cannot, and this is really a handicap, we have to ask them. So if they think that their religion is the completion of religion, okay, it doesn't matter. But also we have the right to preach our religion. And the third one is also to work together and to strengthen conviviality.
To find that back again.
Yeah, but much more positive, because sometimes, they are using a double language, too bad. But we don't agree, we refuse to be considered tolerated. This is a humiliation for us.
Yes, it's a negative connotation.
Sure, we are Iraqi, we are citizens, we are human beings, we are equal. They have nothing more than us. So we are equal, and they have to respect that. What we need is a new area, a new dimension of life, a new life for us, and also for our children to live in a stable situation and with dignity and with freedom.
Thank you, Your Excellency, for having been with us today in our program.
You're welcome. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for having been with us today in our program, Where God Weeps. And if you'd like to know more about the situation of Christians in Iraq, or how you might be able to help, I would encourage you to look at the contact information at the end of this program. And we look forward to seeing you next week. Take care.